Hurricane Melissa, not just one of the strongest Atlantic hurricanes this year, but in all history, has now landed in Jamaica with wind speeds of up to 185 miles an hour. Described by the United Nations as the storm of the century, this could have dramatic implications for the island and cause a major humanitarian crisis. Let's hear right away from Dean Jones, an estate agent who joins us from Jamaica in Ocho Rios on the coast. Dean, thanks for joining us. We've had all the predictions. What's it actually like where you are?
Well, to be quite honest, I've been anxious for about 3 days now. The weather actually started to stir up on Sunday, believe it or not. I felt like we were in a hurricane for the last 2 nights. And at nighttime, when the wind starts to speak to you, it's almost like it's got a voice and it's howling and the roof is moving, or at least it feels like it's about to rattle. It's very scary. Yep.
Is it too dangerous to get out of the house and walk around in the streets now?
Yeah, you wouldn't be going out now. It's very dangerous. The wind is quite severe. The weather is rough. The rain is coming down.
Are you starting to see damage on properties and trees and so on?
Thank goodness, no. We're on the right-hand side of this storm, and there will be some damage. All I've seen so far is a couple of trees falling down.
Now, property is your business. How vulnerable do you think Jamaica generally is to a hurricane of this scale?
Honestly speaking, any country would be vulnerable to a hurricane of this scale. I can't believe this is happening. I'm not in disbelief, but gale force winds of 175. There's not many structures that can withstand that, much less roofs, whether you have hurricane straps or not. So I'm nervous.
I do read that there are quite a lot of places to escape the hurricane around the island. There are shelters of different kinds dotted all over the place. Are people making their way there already?
I've been heard that a lot of people are making their way, but I've also heard that there are fishermen still on the shore. There are people still in huts putting breeze blocks on the zinc, corrugated zinc, and they're waiting it out. So I think that's extremely dangerous, and some people are still in denial because Jamaica usually escapes these things.
Yeah. Well, listen, Dean, best wishes from all of us at LBC. Stay safe, and thank you very much for that. Much appreciated. And for a little bit more about the strength of the hurricane, Dr. Jess Neumann, Associate Professor of Hydrology at the University of Reading, joins me now. Jess, thanks very much for joining us. This is a hurricane. I said it was the hurricane of the century. Was I overdoing it? I was just reading something out that I'd been told.
Well, the media are quite prone to over-exaggeration, but in this case, you're pretty much bang on the money. This is an absolutely huge hurricane that's just made landfall in Jamaica. It's got sustained wind speeds of well up over 185 miles per hour. And as we've just heard from Dean there, large parts of the country are getting prepared, but there are still big questions raised from some people as well about what's going to happen.
Now, I'm just telling you what I've read in the past, that there are not more hurricanes happening because of global warming, but the hurricanes that are happening tend to be bigger. Again, broadly speaking, is that true?
So what we are seeing is more of these larger level 4, category 5 hurricanes. And when we think of Melissa, she's been sitting off the south coast of Jamaica for a good few days now, sort of creating that anxiety in a lot of people who are on Jamaica. But also, if you've got family and friends out there, you'll be worried. And what we are seeing with climate change is often these sort of stalling systems that just sit and they suck up the warmth and the moisture from the sea. And that is what's so damaging. That's what brings huge storm surges and huge amounts of rain.
We have seen, sitting in Britain and looking across the Atlantic, we see hurricane after hurricane, hitting Florida, hitting the coast of the States, hitting the Caribbean and places like Jamaica. We've had nothing like that on the European side of the Atlantic. Is that something we can relax about? Is it kind of never going to happen here? He said worriedly.
So one of the key things that a hurricane needs to be able to create itself and to get the energy is warm seas. We're looking at sort of 27 degrees, and we don't really have those sea temperatures up near Europe, but we do get the tail end of some of these hurricanes, these sort of ex-tropical storms. And we think back to 1987, for example, where we get these extreme sustained winds. So we don't get hurricanes in the same way, but that's not to say that we can't experience damage and loss of life as a result of storms that create in the Atlantic as well.
final question. Is this the kind of level of hurricane that we can now expect to see year after year in the Caribbean?
Perhaps not just in the Caribbean, but all over the country, the world, typhoons, cyclones, happen in different parts of the world. We should assume that we are going to continue to see events like this, and we need to be prepared for them. I think that's the main takeaway message, is being prepared. And Jamaica are doing a lot to make sure that they're ready to go with the cleanup as quickly as possible here. But there's still lessons that we can learn going forward.
We'll need to think and act differently. Helen, thank you very much indeed for joining me tonight.